race fans, welcome to round one of the Legacy Sports Car Series presented by Ledford Construction. As always, I'm James East on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, always bringing you the action 1080p, 60 frames a second. Thank you all for having me as we get ready to broadcast this brand new league on the iRacing service. It's going to be a good time. It's a new league featuring old cars. So what that means is you can get out in the action for very, very cheap. Have a lot of fun, get out here and race for cheap. A lot of different cars you can run out here. In the LMP2 class, you can see the Honda ARX 01C. It's a $3 car on iRacing. You've got the Riley Daytona prototype, the DP class, another $3 car. They've also got the GT1 class featuring the Aston Martin DBR9 GT1 and then the Chevrolet Corvette C6R GT1. Both of those cars are about $12 each. They're very affordable. Finally, up next, we got the GT2 class. That's going to have the Ford GT2 car in it. And last but not least, they've got the Porsche Cup class. That's going to be the GTC. So it's a Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car. All these races are about 45 minutes long and are gridded up by class. Every Saturday you can join in the action. Practice opens at 3 p.m. Qualifying starts at 4 p.m. and grid at 4:15 p.m. They use the IMSA point series. So right now we're watching open qualifying. A lot of these guys still kind of getting used to how things are working out here. Getting used to their competitors and seeing what's going to happen. And some of the guys just getting used to the cars, not having a lot of experience so far out here. As right now, Charles Bochelle is leading his class, the number 51 machine. You see him on screen in his Corvette there, that beautiful Chevrolet. Dennis Weeks also in that class. Both of those competitors are in the GT1 class. You've got Ahmed, a.k.a. Echo. He's out there in one of the prototypes tonight. No, excuse me. He's in the Riley Daytona prototypes, the DP class. You've got Casey Carrington. You might remember him from the All-American ARCA series. He's out there running the LMP2 tonight. So in the LMP2s, you've got Nick Terrell, you've got Casey Carrington, and Cody Ledford. Ledford was slated to do race control tonight. And then not a lot of drivers for this opening round, so he's going, you know what? We don't really need race control. Let's get out there and burn some laps together. So Daytona, a very, very fun track. Not sure how it's going to go. A lot of these drivers still kind of getting used to everything and not having a whole bunch of experience on this raceway, but expecting a pretty good time as we see cars putting down their open qualifying laps here at Daytona. Daytona has technically 13 corners at this road course that they're running tonight. As you're watching Casey Carrington make his way down the back stretch, or start-finish line stretch, excuse me. Diving it into turn one. He's going to make his way into two, go into the International Horseshoe, that hard right-hander. Back on the gas, wide open down that little straightaway. A very fast left-hander into T4. He should be able to hold it just about wide open in these extremely high downforce cars. Then back on the brakes, heavy once again, that right-hand horseshoe for T5. Gonna straighten up that LMP2 wide open into T6, then into T7. Almost makes a 90-degree cutback right here. And then he's gonna get on the gas for that LMP2, hammering it down. Goes through turn 8, just up on the banking. Going to hold it wide around the banking of Daytona, what would be turn 1. But for road racing, it's turns 8 and 9. And you're going to see him come around the backstretch here. This is where these guys are really going to hold it wide. And you're going to see some spectacular driving and very, very fast times being put down. As he hammers it into the bus stop, grabs down to third gear just like that. Back up to 230 kilometers an hour. He's going through T12 and T13 on this track, and he will put down our hot lap of qualifying. So good to see Carrington out there. We know him more as an ARCA racer and a league owner, but definitely a racer as well. Just completed the Watkins Glen 6 hours with his team. So we just because we give him a hard time, he's always up in the admin booth making things happen. He does know how to drive some of the cars out here on the iRacing service. We won't say all of them. We won't give him too much credit, but Carrington does a good job of doing what he can out here. You're on board with Ahmed, a.k.a. Echo, our lone Egyptian out here tonight. Ahmed in that prototype, making it happen here around Daytona. Ahmed, another guy we're kind of familiar with from the ARCA series. First time we've seen him on a road course, at least in one of the Team Goon Squad sponsored broadcasts, but expecting good things out of the young man. He's been a very friendly racer on and off the track. He's definitely a professional as he comes into pit road. Ahmed, a C-Class road racer with a 1300 I rating. He only has 31 career road starts on the iRacing service. 10 of those was a top 5 win. He's had 1 win, 1 pole, and he's led 27 laps to an average win percentage of 3.23. So not a lot of time on official iRacing events, but still doing a good job getting out there and putting down some fast laps. DJ Weeks, he's out there right now. The number 997 and his Corvette. Such cool looking cars making their way around. It's really a nice change to see leagues putting on events with not as popular cars, especially some of the more affordable options. Let racers get out here, have a good time without spending $15, $20 on a track and car, especially when a lot of these guys run similar leagues to each other. They already have overlapping cars, so a lot of these guys already had Daytona from other series. So it's going to allow them to say, hey, we already got the track. Let's spend another $3, do a little bit of racing here. So it is open qualifying here. They've got about 6 more minutes of quali left. Nick Terrell currently putting on top of the board for the LMP2 class. Casey Carrington, he's about a second, 1.4-ish off the pace. Dennis Weeks Jr., right now, he is our fastest Chevrolet Corvette on track in the GT1 class. And then Johnny Eckert and Ahmed are putting down laps in the DP2, or the DP class, excuse me. So, as a broadcaster's guess, I'm expecting a relatively relaxed event tonight with not a ton of cars on track. I do think, though, this can grow into be one of the bigger and more unique leagues that we see on the iRacing service, just because of the uniqueness of the cars, affordable tracks, and good racecraft we're going to see out here from our competitors. A lot of smoke coming up right in front of Dennis Weeks Jr. That might be somebody having issues in front of him. And this is a night race at Daytona. So that means you're going to see a few guys flashing those high beams as they come up on lap traffic trying to make it work. And it can really mess with the drivers going around a corner and having the lights change on you. It makes it very, very exciting, especially in endurance racing. Tonight's more of a sprint than it is endurance. So it's going to be a 45-minute timed race plus 1 lap. So if nothing else for some of these drivers, a lot of time for them to kind of get used to how the car is going to feel and put themselves in better position later on as the season develops. This is round 1, so we're at Daytona this week. Next week, we're going to be at my personal home track, Road Atlanta. So that's going to be July 3rd. We'll be at Road Atlanta seeing what these drivers can do. A very, very fun track. One that I've got a ton of laps around on sport bikes, and it makes it a little bit easier to broadcast and give you some insider point of views. I've only got 1 race weekend here at Daytona International, but I've got to say one of the scariest tracks I've ever been on in my life. We ran the same configuration you see your online athletes today running, and it just doesn't give you a sense of how fast this track is and how aggressive the banking can be. One of the tracks Casey Carrington does a good job. Uses the whole racetrack to his advantage. Gets all the way to that outside wall before dipping into turn one. And again, I don't think people at home really appreciate how banked those corners are. It's, I think, about 30 degrees banking in turn the NASCAR oval here at Daytona. And as you see Casey dipping in turn four, almost wide open on a motorcycle as well, where you just kind of hold that outside line, huck it in there, and pray everything sticks. So Casey in a very sharp-looking Patron-backed machine tonight. The tequila sponsor getting a little bit of love. Casey doing his best. He wants to try and eke up a couple more spots, see if he can knock out Nick Terrell, who's on top of provisional pole for their class, for that LMP2 class. It's a good side-by-side comparison of what Carrington and Terrell are able to put down as far as laps. So Carrington not quite able to rope down Terrell here in qualifying, but doing a good job clicking it off. So that that graphic in the bottom right of your screen shows the difference on how hard these competitors are trying here. And there's the sector views comparing Carrington and Nick Terrell. So not quite showing up since Terrell's not on track right now. But it should be a good night with some close racing, especially in the LMP2 class. You've got Nick Terrell out there, Casey Carrington, Cody Ledford, who I don't believe has turned any laps yet. Not sure what he may have going on. But qualifying's about to come to an end. Can Casey Carrington put down just a little bit better lap? He's aiming for a 135 flat to edge out Nick Terrell. Not sure if he's going to be able to do it here, or if he's going to be forced to be happy starting second. Right now, LMP2, the provisional pole is for Terrell, and the DP class, Eckert and GT1 Weeks is what it's going to be looking like going into the race. We've got about 6 seconds left of qualifying. Casey Carrington not quite able to do it. He did a 136.58 his last lap, so still about a second slower than current pole setter Nick Terrell as qualifying comes to an end here at the raceway. We're going to look at your starting grid for tonight once we get it pulled up here. As we wait for the race to finish up, still showing us qualifying coming to an end. If you're watching along from home and have a favorite driver you're cheering for, as always, let us know. It helps boost these drivers' morale, helps get their sponsors the attention they deserve, and helps grow the league. So as always, we couldn't do it without you guys at home. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we're hoping it's going to be a good one here at Daytona. I'll be honest, not quite sure what's going on. I think they're having some problems getting cars to the grid here. As you see the Daytona flagman waving vigorously for no cars on track. The checkered flag is flying for qualifying. No drivers out there, but he's earning every bit of his salary, making it happen. So what we're going to do, we're going to run to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Don't miss anything here on Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready for the season premiere of the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction. Nick Terrell starting up front, Casey Carrington second, Cody Ledford is going to be in third for our LMP2 class. Johnny Eckert starting in fourth, and Ahmed, a.k.a. Echo, starting in fifth. That's our two DP drivers. And then Dennis Weeks Jr., Charles Bochelle starting 6th and 7th. They're in the GT1. They're in the Chevrolet Corvettes tonight. But, guys, it's going to be a good race. Expecting some very clean racing from all of our competitors. Let's take it down to the grid, and we're going to get this party started here at Daytona. They're forming out. The high beams are already in full effect as we see our LMP2 drivers having a fantastic time. The Daytona prototype drivers you see starting in 3rd and 5th. They're going to get the use out of the button and make everything count while they can. As it looks like a disco ball going around the straightaway. Everybody flashing some high beams and possibly giving seizures to fans that are in the grandstands out there. But the driver's having a great time. We're having a great time in the broadcast booth. Looking forward to some good, clean racing. Who's going to be the winner tonight of the LMP2 class? This is going to be Nick Terrell, pole setter. Is it going to be Casey Carrington starting the number 9 machine? Or is it going to be the underdog, Cody Ledford? All across the field, we're hoping for some good battles tonight. We're going to wait for that iRacing pace car to come in. It is in, and here we go at Daytona. All eyes on Nick Terrell out front in the Taco Bell sponsored machine. But here comes Casey Carrington. He's in his Patron back number 9, representing his favorite tequila. Pairs well with Taco Bell. As we see these competitors diving in deep into turn 1, Casey Carrington's already off track. Everybody's off track. It's carnage at Daytona. Nick Terrell starts to check out. Cody Ledford involved in a crash already. Now look at this, Casey Carrington. He's behind Johnny Eckert in the DP2 class. Carrington give him a courtesy blink. I think Eckert might know he's there. It's early on in the race. Not a lot of time to miss anything. So Carrington's got to put down some serious work here. Try and catch up to Johnny Eckert. Excuse me, Casey Carrington's got to catch up to Nick Terrell. Eckert's currently leading the DP class. Ahmed's still running second for his class. Cody Ledford off track again in the LMP2. Ledford did not have a lot of time to set up for tonight and really get in some practice laps. Good news is he's got 44 minutes to get it dialed in and figured out. So if anything, he can treat it like a track day. Get out there, burn some nice comfortable laps, and see what transpires. Right now, Johnny Eckert, he's leading over Ahmed in their class. But look at this. Here comes one of the GT drivers. That's going to be Dennis Weeks Jr. driving in deep. Ahmed misses his turn through the bus stop. He's going to have to yield a ton of time there. What a start to this event. Why we've got a quick lull. Everybody's flashing high beams already, giving their friends the business. We're going to get a quick replay of what happened to Cody Ledford early on into the race that put him off track in a very bad position. So Cody Ledford, he's in the number 3 LMP2 on the left side. Now it's the right side of your screen. The red and black paint scheme goes into turn 1. He's got cold tires, not good brakes at this point, and these cars do their best braking when they have aero on top of them. So Ledford looks like he just kind of hit the angle a little bit wrong and locks it up just a tad to try and avoid getting back into the carnage. So we're going to see, does Ledford go off track here? Does he mow the lawn or does he keep it on there? Looks like he kept it on there, so good job to Ledford. Yeah, Ledford does a good job. Well done. Taking it back out front, we're watching Ahmed. He's gotten past Charles Bochelle in a different class car. Pushing hard through the bus stop. Ahead of him, Ahmed's got Dennis Weeks Jr. and his Chevrolet Corvette. And then Casey Carrington's doing his best to reel in current class and race leader Nick Terrell. Now Carrington is going to have the draft going around this backstretch, which is going to help him out immensely. And again, these drivers have 42 more minutes to really get things dialed in and figured out. That's going to help them a lot. It gives them time to work on different strategies, work on different techniques, and see what your competitors are doing. As we may see a battle for the lead form up here. Nick Terrell's out front. Casey Carrington's in second, the number 9 machine. Terrell a little bit faster on lap 1, a little bit slower on lap 2, allowed Carrington to drop to a record-setting time. He's got the fastest time of the race so far, a 1:35.36. So Carrington's able to get something figured out, maybe made a little bit of adjustments before going out into the grid while they were still in their hauler. So very well done to him. Are we going to see Casey Carrington, though, keeping that draft, try and make something happen? Terrell's got a 0.7 second gap over second place Carrington right here. As Ahmed has come into pit lane, Cody Ledford's already come into pit lane, so both those drivers having problems early on. But the battle for the lead is starting to shake up. Casey Carrington, he had great pace that last lap. Can he do it again? He was over a second faster than Nick Terrell that last lap. And he does have the draft advantage. So if he can kind of get right behind Terrell, use that draft to his full advantage, you may see him making something happen here. But that time by Terrell put down a 1:35.13. Casey Carrington a 1:35.85. So 0.7 of a second slower than current race leader. So Terrell might have gotten some stuff figured out. He might have saw Carrington reel him in going, all right, time to go a little bit faster. But look how much speed these competitors are carrying around this turn 4 right here. 240 miles an hour, maybe a blip of the kilometers an hour, excuse me. Maybe a blip of the throttle, and that was it. Going to update something real quickly here on the broadcast for you guys. There we go. Now you've got a miles per hour in the bottom right hand of your corner. So for our American viewers, that's going to help you out a little bit. We're going to get that overload just kind of updated for you. But there you go. Shows you how much speed Casey Carrington's carrying around that backstretch in excess of 180 miles an hour. Uses the draft from lap traffic to his advantage. Can he hit 190 here? Carrington does. He hits 190 miles an hour going into turn 1. That is so insanely fast. That allowed him to do a 1:35.42, so a little bit slower than his best lap of the session. But just like that, he's reeled in Terrell. He's whittled away at that gap just a bit. Terrell still has about a 0.6 second advantage over second place Casey Carrington right now. but Carrington doing his best to reel him in and try and make something happen here. A fantastic race by our two LMP2 cars out here tonight. Taco Bell is out front in the Nick Terrell 81 machine, but Patron in the number 9, Casey Carrington, he's doing a great job getting it up there and trying to at least keep Terrell in his sights, using that draft to his absolute advantage. So Carrington's starting to find a little bit of lap times here, getting quicker and quicker. You can see the sectors a little bit faster, pretty much all the way across the board. Sector 2 and 3, he was faster. Terrell just a little bit slower. But man, look at these guys charging into the bus stop. Oh, Carrington punts a cone. Daytona track workers are probably going to charge him the $10 to replace that bad boy as he gets removed from the racetrack. Carrington might have gotten a slowdown there. It looked like he did. So the officials got on radio and said, hey, you've actually cut the course. You're going to have to yield at least 1 or 2 seconds. So now Terrell is able to put down a 2.7 second gap over second place Casey Carrington. Oh, no! Carrington spun! Carrington goes around in turn 1. Can he get through clean? He's got a big gap to traffic behind him, but that's going to kill the tires for Casey Carrington. As lap traffic makes his way around, Carrington's got a long way to go now, from less than a second all the way down to 12 seconds right now. Ah, Carrington, you hate to see it. Especially, that's going to really burn up the rear tires, that LMP2 machine. Let's get a slow motion replay on that one. So you're watching Casey Carrington driving hard into turn 1. Looks like he just a little bit too much on the front brakes. Maybe allowed the rears to the rear of the car to lift up just a tad bit. Again, we said earlier on, these cars like all their braking under straight up and down conditions. Without the more aero you can put on the car while braking, the better, and the better they work. So look right here, Casey Carrington's going to come in, carry just a little bit too much slip angle, and he knows about midway through. He goes, oh, we're going for a ride here. Does a fantastic job keeping it out of the inside wall, as well as avoiding getting hit by lap traffic. But that's really going to put him at a disadvantage here. The only saving grace he has, this is a very long race, so he will have to stay out there and keep charging. But Casey Carrington not putting himself in the place that he wanted so far in this race. Man of the hour right now, Nick Terrell doing a great job. Nick Terrell, he's in first place. He's got about 11.5 second gap over second place Casey Carrington. And he has the fastest lap in class and of the race with a 1:35.13. His last time by was a 36. He has no draft help at this point, but doing a good job staying out there, keeping that Taco Bell sponsored Honda very, very clean and doing a great job at it. Nick Terrell racing for Team Dodge CHT and his number 81 machine. No stranger to competition. He's racing a bunch of different leagues across the iRacing service. And as of right now, Terrell boasts an A license with a 1700 I rating. Out of 1,053 official iRacing starts, he has 24 wins, 242 top fives, 20 poles. Out of all those laps, 16,000, we'll call it 17,000 laps, he has led 300 of them with a top 5 percentage of a 23%. So Terrell, no stranger to long format races. He races a bunch of IMSA. He does the VRS GT Sprint Series. Mixes in some NASCAR Next Gen Cup Series every now and then. He knows what it takes to really hammer down these LMP2s and do a good job at it. So his familiarity around these fast, high downforce cars on tracks such as Daytona really playing to his advantage. But I mean, Casey Carrington doing a good job. He is down to a 10.6 second gap. As we do have another crash, it's going to be Cody Ledford going for a spin. Ledford to the number 3. Looks like he's coming out. Looks like he was coming out of turn 5 right there. Not quite sure what happened. He got through relatively okay. He just dives it too deep into turn 6, spins it around there. Ledford really coming to grips, or maybe not coming to grips due to the traction issues with that LMP2, but doing a good job staying out there, hammering down, trying to make it happen. That's what it's all about here at the Legacy Sports Car Series. A bunch of like-minded individuals getting out there, putting down laps, working with each other throughout the week to try and get a little bit more familiar and a little bit faster. A rising tide lifts all ships, as the old proverb says. As Nick Terrell hammers off another lap, a 136.61 compared to Carrington's last 135.59. So Carrington, if he can keep the pace up, he's got plenty of laps left to do it. He should be able to slowly eke his way up front if he can keep his nose clean. So it's all up to Carrington right now to try and get up there and dethrone current race leader Nick Terrell. If I'm doing my math right, which is always scary from a broadcaster, they should have about 20 laps left if I'm doing this right. I'm sure a racer will correct me if I'm wrong, so it should be about 29 laps here at Daytona with the way timing set up, at least for the LMP2s. That's going to be Nick Terrell, Casey Carrington, Cody Ledford all out there. And here comes Nick Terrell. He's going to deal with lap traffic. I believe that's Cody Ledford in front of him in the number 3 machine. Ledford should be fine here. They're in the same car, but as long as Ledford holds his line, no worries. Everything's going to be fine. Oh, Ledford's got a little bit of a blink there. Excuse me, Terrell does. We're going to back out that angle just a little bit. As you can see, some very, very different speeds here going in turn 1. The last thing Terrell wants to do is get himself involved with lap traffic in any way. Cody Ledford, the absolute professional that he is, gets off track, and it's going to allow Terrell back around. As you see Ledford throwing up tire smoke and dirt smoke everywhere. Here's an onboard with Nick Terrell. Look at the closing speed difference between the LMP2 cars and the GT1s. How quickly he reels in. That's the 51 of Charles Bochelle. Bochelle right now on the lead lap, but oh, how quickly he gets around him is very, very impressive. Let me tell you, it's one thing to be the driver getting lapped with the closing speeds. It's a little bit scary on a racetrack from my experience in multi-class motorcycle endurance racing. It is much, much scarier when you are the passer, the faster vehicle on the racetrack, because you have no idea what that car in front of you is going to do. You know, hey, he should hold his line. Everything should be nice and steady, no worries, but never discount another racer do something spicy at the last second and surprise you. Nick Terrell putting down some good laps. We see Xfinzo, he's chiming in saying, hey, from the driver's area, he's not able to make it tonight, wasn't able to get to the racetrack in time, so hate to see it for him. I believe that's going to be maybe Caden Atkins is who we might be talking to. But yeah, I mean, it's early on in the season. A lot of drivers still going to come and go and get sorted out and dialed in. I think things are going to really develop very well, and you're going to see more and more racers out here having a good time. From a broadcaster's point of view, it looks a lot of fun, but I think we have another crash. It might have been Ahmed going for a spin. Let's get a replay on that. Ahmed and his Daytona prototype in the Cap and Crunch machine. Looks like the rear of that car is looking a little bit worse for wear. So let's see. He's going into turn 6 here. Same spot that Ledford spun out. So let's see what happens to Mr. Ahmed. Gets pretty hard on the curbing, maybe unsettles the car just a little bit. Oh, look at that thing bucking coming into turn 7. Yep, just enough to settle the car. Takes some air off of the top and puts it underneath, and then Ahmed's going to go for a ride. No worse for wear, though. Plenty of runoff here at Daytona, so he'll be able to get back out there with a clean car and start hammering out some more laps. Nick Terrell still out front. Casey Carrington in second. Johnny Eckert in his Daytona prototype doing a fantastic job. His lap times are about 6 seconds slower than the LMP2s, but the fact that he's out there charging as hard as he is, very, very impressive. The number 90 machine doing a good job. We know he's a good over racer. Nice change of pace, seeing him on the road course, and doing a great job on that Daytona prototype. Ahmed's coming after pit lane after doing a little bit of repairs. Taking 4 tires after smoking his. And here's Dennis Weeks Jr., current class leader in the 997 Corvette. Making his way around the bank, and his best lap time is about 1 second off from the Daytona prototype. So not as much of a difference as we really thought we would see here at the Daytona International Speedway. So kind of cool seeing 2 wildly different cars put down similar lap times. As you hear that Corvette, that American muscle, really hammering down on the banking here at Daytona. Look at Casey Carrington. He's starting to eke back up to Nick Terrell. He's got 9.8 seconds, but oh no, Ahmed goes for another crash. Ahmed having a rough night tonight, trying to get his Daytona prototype dialed in. Is Casey Carrington going to have enough laps to try and reel in Nick Terrell? He was a little bit slower that last lap, about 4/10 slower than race leader Nick Terrell. But still a long time to go, about 25 minutes remaining in this session. Casey Carrington doing a very good job here tonight. I mean, he's an oval racer for the most part. We see him do a little bit of endurance stuff with his friends from the All-American ARCA Series, but just a very good performance by him and Nick Terrell. Terrell doing a fantastic job in that Taco Bell-sponsored 81 Honda LMP2. Very, very fun cars to drive, but they do not reward any inattention that you may give. You make one mistake or mental lapse, and next thing you know, that high downforce car can be spinning around the racetrack. And if you have any big incidents, you're looking for a long night. Right as we say incidents, we see live time and scoring. Charles Bochelle involved in an incident. We're going to try and get the replay going on that one. There's Bochelle in the number 51 Corvette. Currently running second place in class. It looks like turn 6 has been the doozy for these racers here tonight. This will be the 3rd crash we've seen going into 6. You see the front rotors on that Chevy Corvette really lock up. Oh no! Bochelle gets pretty hard into the wall. Looks like he still may be able to drive that, so good for him, but not what he wanted to see here tonight. Terrell still doing a great job out front. Casey Carrington about 9.9 seconds back in the LMP2 class. Behind them, they've got Johnny Eckert. He's leading the GT1 class right now. Excuse me, the Daytona prototype class. Eckert doing a good job, and behind Eckert you've got Dennis Weeks Jr. He's leading the GT1 class. 4 drivers still in the lead lap right now with about 22, 23 minutes left to go. I still think it's anybody's guess. I'd hate to see it this early on. I'm still thinking we're going to see some racing forming up here. Casey Carrington's been doing a fantastic job, really charging hard. But here comes Nick Terrell. He's got lap traffic in front of him. I believe that might be the 997 of Dennis Weeks Jr., DJ for short. Nick Terrell being very, very smart, backing it way, way down into 1. You got to know when to pass with these multi-class format events. So does a good job picking and waiting on his moment before he starts flying by here. So that's going to put Nick Terrell ahead of Dennis Weeks Jr. and put DJ 1 lap down. DJ doesn't care. He's still leading his class right now in GT1s, doing a phenomenal job. His last time by was a 1:43.76, so about 1.5 seconds slower than his best of the race. And you can really hear the difference between these high-strung LMP2s and the American Muscle Corvettes. I believe we do have Ahmed out of the race here. We got reports from the pit lane. Ahmed did have a small family emergency arise, so he had to pull that car in and head out with a quickness. We're keeping him in our thoughts, and hopefully everything's okay. Last thing you want to see from any of our competitors is have any real-life issues that takes them away. So, Ahmed, we're thinking of you, buddy. Hope everything ends up being all right. Look at that, Nick Terrell. He's going to come into pit lane on lap 15. Come in for 4 fresh tires and fuel. Casey Carrington, he's going to come in. A long pit lane here at Daytona International Speedway. An extremely difficult pit out. Let's see here. That was Johnny Eckert's leaving the pit, and the number 90 machine, I believe, is what he's in. Nick Terrell gets out pretty quickly. Casey Carrington a little bit longer, about a second and a half longer pit stop than Nick Terrell. So a very, very tight exit here at Daytona on the pit lane before we can really get on the gas and hammer down. So now, after that pit cycle, Casey Carrington finds himself still about 11 seconds behind current class and race leader Nick Terrell. Casey Carrington with fresh tires. We're going to see if he can hammer down, try and whittle away in the gap over Nick Terrell. They did about 15 laps in 25 minutes, so they should be able to make it to the end. They might have to see some fuel save out of these competitors as they try and make it all the way in on this last tank of fuel. So Terrell and Carrington on the same pit strategy here. Eckert leading the Daytona prototype. He came in on lap 14. Weeks came in on lap 14. That's DJ and his Corvette in the GT1 class. And Bochelle came in on lap 12, going for a little bit of an undercut. So a few of these drivers having some issues, just trying to get things dialed in. But for the most part, everybody doing a fantastic job. Casey Carrington trying to get those tires warmed up going into the International Horseshoe. It's a very tight radius turn he is making, especially with fresh tires and a high downforce car. These LMP2s have to slow down way much, and when they're going slow, that's when they make the least amount of grip and downforce on these very specialized machines. Right now, though, Nick Terrell still with a 10.2 second gap. Terrell out front making his way down the backstretch. We'll see him going to the bus stop here in a moment. As he comes up on lap traffic going to the bus stop. The bus stop is not one of those places you really want to catch lap traffic and start having to alter your line midway through. When these machines get unsettled, they get not a whole lot of fun to drive, but there's a great shot. Shows you the banking on this section of racetrack. Terrell, he's going to use Johnny Eckert for a little bit of draft help here. Make his way by him before he goes diving into turn one. Terrell doing a 136.73 his last lap. Casey Carrington did a 136.32. So Nick Terrell is very, very smart. He's picking and waiting for his moments. He doesn't want to make too much of a risky pass on lap traffic at this point in the race. The worst thing you can do is A, take out yourself, or B, take out an innocent bystander. Nobody wants to earn that hard-fought LMP2 stigma you hear about online. As Terrell still hanging out, trying to set a personal best lap this time by. Going to be a little bit tougher without any draft partners to work with, but if anybody can do it, it could be Terrell. He still has a 9-second gap over second place Casey Carrington. And all of these drivers just being able to get out here on the opening rounds of the Legacy Sports Car Series are going to score themselves some points that are going to make it easier as the grid starts to fill up and they start to have bad weekends. Let's see what Terrell does this time by as he makes his way out of four, crosses the start-finish line straight here at Daytona. I believe it's going to show him with a 136.62. Let's see what Carrington can get for him. Carrington with a 135.93, so about 0.7 seconds faster than Nick Terrell. If he can keep that type of pace up, he may have enough towards the end of this race to catch up. So again, we're expecting to see about 27, 28 laps total out of our LMP2 drivers. That'll be Nick Terrell, Casey Carrington. That's what we're going to expect out of those gentlemen. As we're on lap 19 right now, we've got about 15 minutes left to go and closing fast. Carrington gonna have to get on the gas, try and make something happen here if he wants to catch up to current race leader Nick Terrell. Both of these guys pitted on lap 15. Should be able to make it all the way to the end under green flag conditions and keeping the loud pedal mashed all the way down when they can afford to. But Carrington, he's got a little bit of pace here. We're watching on a live time and scoring that time slowly getting whittled down between our race leader Terrell and the number 81 machine and second place Casey Carrington and the number 9. There goes Cody Ledford. He's leaving pit lane, getting back out there. Oh, Terrell using up every inch of the racetrack coming out of the horseshoe. Almost looked like he was going to drop a wheel in the grass, and that's all it would take for him to send that LMP2 Honda just whipping around. And every little moment like that where he's got a lift, it's going to allow Casey Carrington to chip away at it. Carrington was another 0.7 of a second faster that last time. So Casey Carrington still clicking away. He's whittled away that gap down to 7 seconds. I don't know if he's going to have enough laps here to do it. It's going to be a little less than 13 minutes to go. Terrell navigates the bus stop like a true professional. He's hammering down. Let's switch the camera over to Casey Carrington and see what he's got. Casey Carrington in the number 9 machine. He's whittled down that gap to 7 seconds between himself and first place. There will be no fuel saving here. Casey Carrington's got to go, but he's got to go as quickly as he can. It's going to be 12 minutes to go once they cross the line. Terrell with a 137 flat compared to Carrington's 135.735. So Carrington, a man on a mission, absolutely hammering it down right now. Look at the right side of your screen. You're about to see race leader Terrell come by. Gives you an idea of how close Carrington has made it behind him. Carrington driving the wheels off of that number 9 machine. At this pace, we very well may see a battle for the lead coming up soon as Casey Carrington keeps whittling away at that gap. But does Casey Carrington have enough laps left in this session to make it happen? It's a 6.5 second gap. He's got about 7 laps left to make it happen. So that really means he's got to gain about a second a lap on current race leader Nick Terrell, and he's got to do it consistently to have a shot at it towards the end of this race. I'm not sure there's enough laps. A great onboard shows Carrington going through the bus stop and making it look easy. Carrying 100-odd plus miles an hour through that in the Patron number 9. Carrington makes his way around turns 12, and turn 13. Let's see what the lap times look like this next time by. Nick Terrell did a 136.83. Here comes Carrington. Puts down a 136.104, so still 0.7 of a second faster. I'm not sure if he's got enough laps to make it happen. If I'm doing my math right, if he keeps that pace, if Casey Carrington keeps doing 136s, let's just make it easier for you guys at home. If he's still 0.7 of a lap faster every lap now until the end, that means he has. If he knocks it all out in the next 6 laps, we're estimating the race is going to end on lap 28. That's still going to put him at a 4.2 second gap at the race end. So Carrington's either got to find some extra time in a hurry here, or he's got to hope and pray Nick Terrell falls off the pace with a quickness. Carrington really needs to be gaining a second a lap at this point to try and reel in Terrell. It's a 5.4 second gap right now. Well, that's a cool nose shot of Carrington diving into the bus stop at Daytona, getting right back on the gas. Carries 115 miles an hour all the way through that, never getting below third gear, so really, really on it tonight. See if we can find the time delta between these two competitors. So this is a good onboard. Shows you how much he's whittled away at that gap, lap per lap. A very cool overlay. Shows you how much he's whittled away that gap as the races went on tonight. We're going to compare the sectors of this too. So sector 1, Carrington just a little bit faster than Terrell, but we already said it once, maybe 100 times now. He's going to have to really go to try and make something happen. He was about 0.9 of a second, almost a full second faster. Casey Carrington was over race leader Nick Terrell and class leader. But we're estimating about 5 laps to go at Daytona. Casey Carrington's got a little bit of lap traffic to play with here, but it should make quick work of it as they come through turns 6 and 7 onto the backstretch of turns 8 and 9 on this day, NASCAR oval. That would be the NASCAR turns 1 and 2. Casey Carrington does not want to get stuck behind lap traffic going into the bus stop here. I believe that might be Charles Bochelle in front of him. It is. Charles, the number 51 machine, is going to allow Casey to get by quick and clean. And man, the exit speed difference coming out of the bus stop, nothing short of amazing. Carrington has whittled down the gap to a 5-second gap over Nick Terrell. As we take you on board with Terrell at this time, as he's going to go diving past start-finish line here, drive it in deep into turn 1. Terrell did a 136.223 on that lap. He's very, very careful going into turn 1, carrying as much speed as he possibly can without worrying about unsettling that LMP2 machine. But man, look at Carrington, does a 135.933. It's less than a 5-second of a gap right now. We've only got about 7 minutes left of racing. At this pace, Carrington might be able to catch up to Terrell, and we're going to have a battle for the lead here in the next couple of laps. So Carrington a little bit faster in Sector 1, a little bit slower in Sector 2. Let's see what Carrington has. He does. He has a full 1/10 of a second faster in Sector 3 here. So Carrington has a little bit of problem with the midfield compared to Terrell. I mean, I say a problem. He's 0.02 of a second off, so not a whole lot going on there difference-wise. But he's really got something figured out in Sector 3 where he's over a 1/10 faster. And now we're going to see Sector 4. See what Casey Carrington has for him. Another 1/10 of a second, 0.12 of a second. So Carrington really finding a lot of speed on the back part of this raceway. Maybe carrying a little bit more momentum over Nick Terrell. But Terrell still has a 6.4 second gap over Casey Carrington. At one point is down to a 5-second gap. Terrell with a 136.2 on that lap. Casey Carrington, he does no 137.510. So Carrington lost 1.3 seconds that lap. So Carrington's got to be having some problems now. Not sure if he's fighting the setup of the car, if tire wear is really coming into play, or what could be going on. Let's see if Carrington can get it figured out. He kind of blew a substantial bit of time there. Dropped over 1.5 seconds. We know Carrington's been faster in Sector 2 and Sector 3 historically. Sector 3 and Sector 4 is when Carrington's really made up a whole lot of time. But the worst thing for a racer is you can get in your own head just a little bit and start overthinking and changing things you don't really need to, and the previous strategy has been working for you. 4.5 minutes here to go at Daytona. Nick Terrell still out front for the LMP2s. Johnny Eckert out front for the Daytona prototypes. Dennis Week Jr., our race leader for the GT1 class. So all across the board, some great racers doing their best to keep it clean, stay out there, and taking a lot of data for as this season progresses. They'll get more and more familiar with how things are going to go, get more used to their cars, and maybe put down some a little bit closer racing in the near future. As you see, Carrington's kind of having a seesaw. He'll gain some time, he'll lose some time, back and forth. Nick Terrell does a 136.45 on his last lap, but here comes Carrington, a 135.77. Carrington's got the pace, but it seems like he's having a little bit of problem doing it consistently in these LMP2 cars. Gains a bunch of time in one moment and finds himself knocked out of the chase here. Casey Carrington coming through the horseshoe. Down into turn 4. He sees Nick Terrell in front of him, less than a 5-second gap. But right now, less than 3 or a little over 3 minutes to go at Daytona. he would have to gain over a second of a lap for the next couple laps to really catch up to Nick Terrell. I don't think he's going to be in draft range. That 5-second gap is going to keep Nick Terrell comfortably out front. But if anybody's going to make it or break it right here, Casey Carrington is going to absolutely send it. Let's watch as he goes into the bus stop at Daytona. Much faster than he's been going all night through there. So Carrington absolutely holding it out, making it happen. Starts to reel in Nick Terrell with that good speed. He's carrying it out of the bus stop. Already about a tenth of a second he's gained just from that section. Be able to go through it and carry a little bit more speed. I just don't think he's going to have enough laps. Terrell puts down a 136.478. Carrington with a 135.654. So not quite a second faster, but I just don't think he's going to have enough laps in this session to make it all the way up. I will say though, now Casey Carrington, he's got the carrot dangled in front of him. He can see Nick Terrell as Terrell just ahead of him as they dive into 4. A little bit of smoke on the racetrack. Oh, no! Casey Carrington drives through Cody Ledford. Casey Carrington in second place. A huge, huge moment. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. That was violent. Cody Ledford. Oh! How does Carrington come through that with such a clean car? That was spectacular. Hands down, one of the best wrecks I've ever seen in multi-class racing. Casey Carrington all over the high beams now. Not sure if he has anybody in front of him, but oh, that was it. That was gonna be the race. So Nick Terrell should be able to run uncontested. He can back off the gas just a little bit now and run it till the end. Oh, that was such a violent crash. We're going to watch that once more because it was fantastic. That was some high quality stuff. So now Nick Terrell, he's got about a 17-second gap. Casey Carrington's got to have damage in that number 9 machine. As you can hear, his transmission, that car does not sound happy. So this should be the white flag lap for Nick Terrell. And then I believe they have one lap in addition to that, is my understanding of how this works for this series. So Nick Terrell going to drive it down the back stretch. He's going to tentatively dive into the bus stop. He's got nothing to lose at this point. His last time by, I do believe, 4. Crossing the start-finish line straight. No, it is a timed race, so the checkered flag is out. Nick Terrell is going to win it. Casey Carrington with a tragedy as he got into the back of Cody Ledford, launched Ledford into orbit in Ledford's LMP2. Johnny Eckert, he'll be our winning car in the DP class, the Daytona prototype. And then, if I'm understanding live timing correctly, Dennis Weeks Jr. should bring it home for the GT1 class. So as these drivers complete their last laps, we'll get them up here in the podium booth so they can thank their sponsors and adoring fans at home. But overall, good performance from our competitors tonight for the opening round of the Legacy Sports Car Series here at Daytona International Speedway. Now we're going to get the unofficial results up as soon as they are available. But right now, put your hands together. Nick Terrell bringing it home for the very first race here at Daytona, as he's going to tear up some grass here in the infield. Nick Terrell is going to put it on top in the LMP2 class, followed by Casey Carrot and Cody Ledford. Daytona prototype is going to be Johnny Eckert out front, Ahmed in second. Ahmed had an emergency. He had to duck out tonight, so hopefully he's okay. And then for the GT1 class, Dennis Weeks Jr., Charles Bochelle, Caden Atkins. Atkins, a late entry. Not sure if he was able to make it out tonight, but hopefully we'll be able to see him at the upcoming race in the future. But all in all, great performance from all of our drivers tonight. A good season opener for everybody, and glad to see some good, clean racing. We're going to get DJ Weeks up in the booth for the winner of the GT1 class. DJ, do you read us? DJ, it looked like those Corvettes were a lot of fun tonight. How did it feel in the opening round from your point of view?
Well, I got a good clean start and got away from the guy at second, and it was just pace. Like I didn't have to push too hard, and obviously keeping it on track is the biggest thing in these things. Coming out to the end. So that was the main goal tonight.
Yeah, a mini endurance race for the most part here at the Legacy Sports Car Series. Are you thinking there's gonna be more door banging action as this grid starts to fill up, or are you happy just to put down some clean laps out there tonight?
Personally, I was just happy to kind of run my own race. I was able to dictate the pace. I can pick it up if I needed to, or drop down if I felt more comfortable. More people joining those is going to cause more mayhem. So I'll take them now when I can still get them.
Spoken like a professional. DJ, before we let you go, man, anybody you'd like to thank tonight before we kick you out of the broadcast booth?
Yeah, Outlaw Racing. Johnny, he really helped me get the setup dialed in. I was struggling earlier today, and yeah, and then you're broadcasting this too. It's great to see you again, and then Casey and them throwing on this league.
Always a pleasure, DJ. We'll catch you next week at Road Atlanta. All right. Up next, we've got Johnny Eckert, the number 90, bringing it home up front for the Daytona prototype class. Johnny, how'd it go out there?
Well, I was surprised that I had the pace that I did. Towards the end of practice, I didn't have a whole lot. I felt good, but I didn't know if I was going to have the pace. So I threw a couple changes at it in qualifying, and then in the race again, I just kind of threw everything I had at it and was hoping that it would work out. And I was kind of surprised how stable it was. So pretty good day.
And Edgar, you did a great job out there. We hate to see Ahmed having to leave with an emergency, but hopefully he's okay. How are you coming to grips with this Daytona prototype? I know it's a very different car than what a lot of people are used to racing here on the iRacing service.
Yeah, I used to run it pretty consistently. I ran a couple 24-hour races a few years ago with it. I think maybe even only one, but I did run a 24-hour race in it, and I have quite a bit of experience driving it. I enjoy it. It's a fun car, and I feel like it's a little bit underrated. You can drive these things, you can race these things on ovals too. You just got to get it all set up right, and you have a really really fun time. So I think there's a lot. I enjoy it, and I hope other people get a chance to give it a go, because there are a lot of legacy cars on iRacing that don't get the love that I feel like they deserve.
Well, Ecker, as always, a great job out there. No matter what series you're in, we can usually expect to see you finishing up front. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank you for broadcasting and the admins for setting this up. And DJ, the GT1 winner. We were talking about what I was debating which class I was going to run in, and I figured the DP would probably help me be more consistent in my LMP2 efforts when it comes to endurance rounds that iRacing puts up. So yeah, I was talking to him and working with him throughout the race. So happy to see he got a good finish as he prepares for endurance racing next year. And yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. Make it 2 days in a row.
Well done, Eckert. We'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.
Thank you so much.
All right, up next, man of the hour, bringing it home in first for the LMP2 class, Nick Terrell. Nick, how'd it go, sir?
That's one of those races you just have to drive consistently since it didn't really have many people. So it was a matter of who was the more consistent, safe driver, and unfortunately, some braking zones were missed and things like that, but made it a little easy. I had an almost spotless race until the last lap where I got a 1x entering the bus stop because I was not really focusing real hard at that point, unfortunately.
Yeah, you had about a 20-second gap after Casey Carrington sent Cody Ledford to Mars with their collision, but you did a good job. You hit the nail on the head. It's all about consistency, so you might not have been hot lapping every time, but you were there every lap. How do you think this is going to prepare you going into Road Atlanta next week, a little bit tighter track?
I've been doing some practice in some GT3s and the Dallara LMP, just a little bit more than this car, just because I can actually find sessions with some of those open. Just learning kind of the little idiosyncrasies of Road Atlanta and the little bumps you can and can't go over in the GT3 versus the LMP is very different. So it's just a matter of being able to put together consistent laps once again.
Now, I know as my real-life home track, I'm excited to see you guys out there. I think we're going to be seeing more and more cars show up every week. But, Nick, before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank tonight?
Just Casey and Alex and Joseph and those guys just for getting the group together to branch out and brainstorm something like this, and just look to see more people join. We'll look to host some more sessions and find some more randoms and get some people in here.
Sounds like a plan, Nick. We hope to see you up on the podium next week at Road Atlanta.
James, have a good one.
You as well, sir. That's going to bring us home for the opening night of the Legacy Sports Car Series, sponsored by Ledford Construction. A bunch of cool racers on unique cars. So on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting and the Legacy Sports Car Series, we always appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next week where we'll be bringing you the action 1080p 60 frames a second from Road Atlanta Raceway.